The book of Numbers takes us on an enigmatic journey through the desert, where every step of the people of Israel seems to carry mysteries and hidden revelations. At first glance, it may seem like just an account of censuses and marches, but when we look more closely, we realize that this book is a chronicle of faith, rebellion, discipline, and supernatural miracles. It's like crossing a living desert, where the sands hold secrets and the wind whispers stories of obedience and judgment. It all begins with God ordering the counting of the people, a thorough census that was not just statistics, but a reminder that every life mattered, that each man was being called to something greater, the formation of a holy army. The arrangement of the tribes around the tabernacle was not random. Each position, each flag, reflected a divine order, as if God himself were drawing a celestial map in the middle of the earth. The walk through the desert, then, was not just geographical, but spiritual. Soon, the suspense intensifies. The desert becomes a stage for miracles and rebellions. The clouds and fire that guided the people revealed the constant presence of God. But even in the face of this, many murmured, doubted, and rebelled. Manna fell from heaven every morning, but dissatisfaction grew. The people complained about meat, and God, in response, sent quails. But along with them also came judgment. The desert was not just a sandy path, but a testing ground, where the faith of every man and woman would be tested to the limit. Among the most impactful stories, we find the revolt of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, who challenged the leadership of Moses and Aaron. The suspense of this narrative is chilling. In front of all the people, the earth opens and swallows the rebels alive, a frightening reminder that no one can contend against the Lord. Another moment of tension is when the people, tired of the journey, rise up against God and are wounded by fiery serpents. And it is in this context of despair that the prophetic symbol of the bronze serpent raised by Moses appears, which healed all who looked at it. This scene is not just an ancient story, but a direct foreshadowing of Christ, who would be lifted up on the cross to bring healing and eternal salvation. The book of Numbers also reveals epic battles and enigmatic encounters. Balaam, the prophet hired to curse Israel, ends up being used by God to bless the people. And in an almost cinematic scene, his donkey speaks, reprimanding him for the wrong path he was following. This passage mixes the comic and the supernatural, but hides a deep secret. No one can thwart the plans of the Almighty. Throughout the book, we see an entire generation fall into the wilderness, unable to enter the promised land because of unbelief. But at the same time, we witness the birth of a new generation, forged in the heat of the sand and the discipline of the journey, ready to inherit the promise. The final suspense of Numbers is this: who will be able to cross the wilderness of life and reach the land that God promised? And the great secret revealed at the heart of the book is that the desert was never just an obstacle. It was the stage where God molded the character of his people, separating the faithful from the rebels, transforming slaves into warriors, murmurers into victors. Numbers shows us that the promise is real, but only those who trust fully in the Lord can achieve it. Thus, the book of Numbers is not just an ancient narrative, but a mirror of our own journey. He teaches us that we often walk through personal deserts, face trials, doubts, and temptations, but each struggle can be transformed into a learning experience. The lesson is clear. It is in the desert that faith is tested. It is in difficulties that obedience is refined. And it is through perseverance that we conquer God's promises. And as we conclude this narrative, we are challenged. Will you be part of the generation that falls into the desert, or the generation that enters the promised land?